So I'm here with Mary Jane from the Shannon School of Business Small Business Development Center, who's been our key partner here in Sydney, Nova Scotia for the Startup Canada Tour. And we just wanted to ask you, and sort of sending a message to some of our other partners, what did you go through to put together such an incredible event?
Well, we leveraged the reputation that we already have in the community. So we have great community partners, and they forwarded the information through to their list and promoted the event. So it was just a matter of taking something that we thought we had value and communicating that value to other partners so that they would send that information out.
No, absolutely, and that's fantastic. But I think there was also a little bit of work that went into kind of choosing this format of giving a bit of an overview of the topics with some experts. First of all, I mean, we had 8 great interviews earlier today. So what went into kind of that, like what was your overall vision for doing this event that had so many great components?
It's important for an event like this to encompass all of the pieces of entrepreneurship. So it's not just about getting people in a room and getting them to talk. It's about that personal interview. It's about providing knowledge as well. So when you have the Rivers engagement, and then you have the Brad LeBlanc speaking engagement, you're imparting knowledge in both of those. So you're giving people a little bit of everything. So you're giving people an opportunity to talk as an individual, to hear things that will add value, and then get an opportunity to talk as a group and network as well. And those are all the important key components of entrepreneurship.
And that's wonderful. And I'm wondering, in terms of, you talked about you got messages out through partners to the community. Was there anything that you put in those messages that you think resulted in so many people coming out to an event like this? Because this was the best turnout we've had across all of our town halls so far.
We said in our message that it was a call to action and that it was an opportunity for people to have their voices heard. And I think the town hall format is something that people are very familiar with in this community. So they understood that their voice was going to be heard, that it wasn't going to be about sage on the stage, somebody standing up there and telling them what they needed to do in order to make Cape Breton successful. And I think people like to get an opportunity to communicate what they think will work in the long term.
Absolutely. And so what do you then see as the value for you and the community, like immediately, and then what do you want to see as that value over the long term from engagement in an event like this?
Something that happened here tonight, which it was unexpected, was that the people that were in the room aren't people that traditionally attend events that we've had in the past. There were some familiar faces, but there were a lot of new people there. So that gave us a chance to network with those individuals, and we've actually made some client appointments to do some work with them. So I think that part is really important. The other thing is that we got to hear what's really important, and some of the ideas that came from those discussions we can action right away, like Monday right away. As well, we have a strategic partnership group that we work with for entrepreneurship, which networks with all of the community groups that do entrepreneurship service provision. So we'll use that information that came forward in those presentations as our visioning session. So we were talking about what do we do next now that we've all introduced ourselves and talked about our mandates. How do we move this committee forward? Well, those 8 presentations are how we move our community forward and the committee work forward.
And I'm really glad that you say those 8 presentations, because I'm sure there were a few groups when we picked a winner who were like, oh, there's nothing going to happen with my action plan. Well, that's not the case. They're all so good. You really want to move them all forward. So now on to a personal question. Why are you so passionate about supporting entrepreneurship, and how important do you think it is for Canada and Nova Scotia and Sydney's future?
My passion comes from the opportunities that I've had to meet people while I've been in this job. So I don't know if I truly understood what I was getting into when I started this position 3 years ago. But when I sat in the room with people and realized how much they had to offer and what they were trying to do, you think when somebody starts a business, the reason they're doing it is because they want to make a profit, but they want to stay in their community. They're already anchored here, and they want to be here, and they want to create a job for themselves, but they want to create opportunities for other people as well. So they want to have that positive sort of image that they're self-made, that they're a business owner. And so we got a chance to share in that passion, and I feel very lucky to have done that. The other thing too is that link between what's happening in the community and what's happening at the university. I taught prior to coming into this position, so I'm able to take some of those skill sets and put them into the position as well. So we're teaching people about the business planning process, but we're also teaching them about the business as well. So it's just absolutely amazing to connect the two together.
Absolutely. And I would normally ask a question about challenges, but I think that we've seen so many today that I want to go a little bit of a different tact here. Were there any challenges identified that surprised you, that you didn't expect to hear about, or that you heard a really new solution to that you've never heard of before?
I don't know if I can speak to that in any kind of depth. And the reason I say that is because I need an opportunity to go back and read what was presented. There may have been some solutions that I might not have thought of, but because you're listening to so many things at one time, I might not have had an opportunity to sort of fully absorb that.
And it's good to know that there's actually going to be some time now to reflect and to think about that. And I guess it doesn't surprise you, but the quality of the entrepreneurs that we had in the interviews today, I also thought was exceptional. I was wondering if you could provide one final comment on the potential you think that Sydney business community has to contribute to Nova Scotia and to Canada.
I think what you have to look at is the population density in Cape Breton. We have significantly less than a lot of areas do, and yet people still manage to find a way to be successful in the long term. And I think there's some real lessons in that, because it means that they're doing what Rivers was talking about. They're already zagging. They're providing excellent customer service. They're connecting with their customers. They're connecting with their suppliers. They're connected to their community. And I think if you could take those best practices and put them into larger urban areas, I think the people could really, move their business forward in a way and grow, because they have the population density as well as the opportunity to be successful.
Absolutely. So if you can do it in Sydney, you should be able to do it in the bigger areas, but Sydney still does it better. Well, thank you very much, Mary Jane. I really appreciate your help. Thank you so much. Wonderful.